China calls U.S. charges immoral. As markets slide, China has blasted the U.S. government's indictments against Huawei as unfair and immoral, and urged Washington to stop its unreasonable suppression of the Chinese telecommunications company after it was charged with a series of offenses. In an escalation of hostilities between the world's biggest economic powers, the U.S. Justice Department charged Huawei and its chief financial officer, Meng Wanzhou, with conspiring to violate sanctions on Iran by doing business with Tehran through a subsidiary it tried to hide. Separately, it said Huawei stole robotic technology from the U.S. carrier T-Mobile. Wen Ku, a senior official at the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, told reporters in Beijing on Tuesday the indictments were unfair and immoral. China's foreign ministry expressed grave concern over the latest development and complained that U.S. authorities had mobilized state power to blacken some Chinese companies in an attempt to strangle fair and just operations, adding that the charges were the result of strong political motivation and political manipulation. It added, "We strongly urge the United States stop the unreasonable suppression of Chinese companies including Huawei and treat Chinese companies fairly and justly." Huawei later said it was disappointed to learn of the charges and that its efforts to discuss them with U.S. authorities were rejected without explanation. The company denies that it or its subsidiary or affiliate have committed any of the asserted violations, is not aware of any wrongdoing by Ms. Meng, and believes the U.S. courts will ultimately reach the same conclusion. It added, the news sparked a slide across Asian stock markets amid fears the Huawei case could damage the prospects for a long-awaited trade deal between China and the U.S. MSCI's index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan got off to a shaky start with losses accelerating as other regional markets opened. Benchmark indices in Australia and New Zealand were down 0.7% each, while South Korea's Kospi was off 0.3%. Chinese shares opened in the red too, with the blue chip index down 0.2%. Japan's Nikkei 225 index fell 1%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng index was down 0.8%. The charges against came just ahead of a two-day meeting between Chinese and U.S. officials aimed at resolving the long-running trade war. Donald Trump will meet China's top economy envoy, Liu He, during the talks, which start in Washington on Wednesday. The U.S. Treasury Secretary, Steven Mnuchin, said he expected significant progress at these meetings. Despite the cloud Huawei has cast over the talks, the Justice Department said Huawei had based its global expansion on lies and deceit. It accused the firm and its executives of stealing trade secrets, laundering money, obstructing justice, and defrauding banks to elude U.S. sanctions.